Picture this. You show up at the airport wearing your favorite travel outfit, the one you always trust. Comfortable, familiar, the one that has never caused a problem before, and within seconds, a security officer looks at you differently, not because of what you packed, but because of what you are wearing. No warning, no explanation, just a pull aside and a longer wait while everyone else moves through without stopping once. This is happening to more travelers every single day in 2026, and the outfit that gets flagged is rarely the one people expect. In fact, the 15th item on this list looks completely harmless, and the very first one might already be sitting in your suitcase right now. So if you plan to fly anytime soon, you need to hear this before you pack, because none of these 15 mistakes are about being reckless. They are about small habits that nobody ever warned you about. The kind of habits that feel perfectly normal until the moment they cost you time, comfort, or a second look you never wanted. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly which outfits to leave at home for good. Before we go further, if you are the kind of traveler who wants to fly smart and avoid these mistakes every single trip, this channel exists for exactly that. So make sure you are following Fly Smart After 70, because the next 14 outfits get more surprising, and some of them might already be hanging in your closet. Number 15, high heels or shoes with multiple laces and metal buckles. This one catches people off guard because it feels like a fashion choice, not a security issue. But every metal buckle, every hidden shank, every thick sole with hardware inside becomes something a scanner has to double check. And that means you standing there, removing shoes, waiting while an officer inspects them by hand. Meanwhile, travelers in simple slip-on shoes glide through without stopping once. Add in the fact that airports involve long hallways, uneven flooring, escalators, and sudden gate changes, and high heels turn a fast walk into a painful one. Officers have noticed that shoes with multiple laces slow down the entire line because untying and retying takes time nobody has during a busy travel day, so what feels like a stylish choice at home becomes the exact reason you are standing at the checkpoint longer than everyone around you. And once that happens, other parts of your outfit get a second look too, because attention at security rarely stays limited to just one item. The simplest fix is choosing shoes you can slip on and off in seconds, no laces to fight with, no buckles to unclip, and no heel making the long walk to your gate feel like a punishment instead of the start of a trip. Number 14, pajamas or sleepwear sets. Comfort is smart when you travel, but there is a difference between comfortable and looking like you just rolled out of bed, and airports notice that difference more than people expect. Wearing a full sleepwear set through a public terminal signals to gate staff and security that you were not prepared for the day ahead, and unprepared travelers get more questions, more requests to step aside, more of the kind of attention you were hoping to avoid. Add in the fact that sleepwear fabric is often thin, loose, and easy to catch on luggage carts or escalator steps, and you have a real practical risk on top of the awkward impression. Seasoned travelers know that comfort clothing exists that still looks intentional, but pajamas cross a line that airports quietly judge you for, even if nobody says it directly. And by the time you notice the extra glances, you are already the person everyone remembers at the gate. A soft jogger's set, a simple hoodie, or loose lounge pants give you the same comfort without sending the same message. And that small change is often the difference between blending in and standing out for the wrong reason. Number 13, cargo pants with too many pockets. Cargo pants feel practical, extra room for your phone, your passport, your snacks, but every single pocket is another item a scanner has to account for. And that means more alarms, more pat downs, more standing with your arms out while an officer checks pocket after pocket one at a time. Travelers forget what is in pocket 6 or pocket 9. A coin, a lighter, a small tool, and that forgotten item is exactly what triggers a secondary screening. The more pockets you wear, the more chances you give the system to stop you. And once you get flagged for one pocket, officers tend to check every other pocket just to be thorough. So a pair of pants meant to make your day easier ends up being the reason your day gets longer, and longer lines behind you notice exactly who caused the delay. Travelers who switch to a single simple pocket, a slim wallet, and a bag that holds everything else move through the same checkpoint in a fraction of the time. And that difference adds up across every single trip you take for the rest of the year. Number 12, flip-flops without heel support. Flip-flops feel like freedom, but airport floors are not designed for them. You are walking through security barefoot on cold tile, stepping onto moving walkways, rushing up escalators, and a flip-flop with no heel supports slips at exactly the wrong moment. Officers have seen travelers trip, removing shoes quickly at the bin, seen sandals fly off mid-stride while sprinting for a gate change. And once you are limping or stumbling through a terminal, you become the traveler everyone is watching instead of the one moving smoothly through the crowd. Comfort matters, but there is a version of comfort that keeps you steady and a version that puts you at risk the moment you have to move fast. And airports are full of moments where you have to move fast without warning. A light slip-on shoe with a real heel strap gives you the same ease without the risk. And after one close call on a moving walkway, most travelers never go back to loose flip-flops again. Number 11, tight skinny jeans or tight dress pants. Fabric that fits too tightly limits how easily you move through a body scanner pose, arms raised, feet apart, holding still for several seconds. And if your pants restrict that movement even slightly, officers ask you to adjust, to try again, to hold the position longer than anyone else in line. Add in the reality of long security lines and even longer flights, sitting for hours in restrictive fabric, and you have discomfort building on top of delay. Travelers wearing tight pants also tend to shift and fidget more during screening, and any unusual movement inside a scanner reads as hesitation, which almost always leads to a second look, so an outfit chosen for style ends up costing you time, comfort, and a little bit of unwanted attention right at the checkpoint. A pair of pants with a small amount of stretch gives you the same silhouette without locking your hips and knees in place, and that tiny bit of give is often what separates a smooth screening from a repeated one. Number 10, crop top with low-rise pants. This combination creates a very specific problem. Exposed skin meeting cold recycled cabin air for hours at a time, and exposed skin meeting the metal button or zipper of low-rise pants sitting directly against a scanner-sensitive area, both of which lead to extra alarms and extra discomfort. Gate agents also have the discretion to ask travelers to adjust an outfit they consider inappropriate for boarding. And while this does not happen constantly, it happens enough that travelers wearing this combination get pulled aside for a quiet word more often than they expect. On top of that, sitting for hours on a flight in an outfit that exposes your midsection means you spend the entire trip adjusting, covering up, and feeling less comfortable than you planned, what looks effortless in a mirror at home often becomes the outfit you regret somewhere over the ocean with 3 more hours left in the air. Keeping a light layer folded in your bag solves most of this instantly. But the travelers who skip that one simple step are the ones pulling a thin blanket over themselves the whole flight, wishing they had packed differently before they ever left home. Number 9. Outfit. With excessive metal hardware, studs, chains, and large zippers. Every stud, every chain, every oversized zipper is metal, and metal triggers alarms. One chain might be fine, but a jacket covered in studs, paired with a chain belt, paired with heavy zippers on your boots, adds up fast. And once the alarm goes off, officers cannot simply guess which piece caused it. They check everything, one item at a time. While you stand there with your arms out and a line building behind you, travelers assume officers can just glance and know it is jewelry. But scanners do not work that way. They detect mass and shape, not intention. So the more hardware you wear, the longer and more thorough your screening becomes. And by the time you are cleared, you have spent more time at that one checkpoint than most people spend at the entire security process combined. Saving the heavy statement pieces for after you land is a small sacrifice that spares you from being the traveler holding up an entire line while officers work through every single stud one by one. Number 8. Sheer or see-through clothing. Sheer fabric might look elegant for travel photos, but airports are public spaces with strict informal dress expectations enforced by gate staff, and sheer clothing crosses that line more often than travelers expect. Some airlines reserve the right to deny boarding for clothing they consider inappropriate, and while it rarely reaches that point, being pulled aside and quietly asked to put on a cover-up in front of a full terminal is not the moment anyone wants during their trip. Beyond that, sheer fabric offers almost no warmth for the unpredictable temperature swings of an airport. Freezing near the gate, warm on the jet bridge, cold again inside the cabin, so you spend the whole day adjusting a layer that was never built to handle real travel conditions in the first place. Packing one light cardigan or an oversized shirt as a cover solves both problems at once, the appearance concern and the temperature concern, and it takes up almost no space in your bag compared to the trouble it saves you. Number 7. Jumpsuit or romper. A jumpsuit looks put together in photos, but think about what happens when you need to use the restroom mid-flight or step through a full body scanner that sometimes requires loosening or partially removing a garment. A one-piece outfit takes far longer to adjust than separates, and that becomes obvious the moment you are standing in a tiny airplane restroom trying to undress and redress in a space barely large enough to turn around in. Security screening can also require you to step aside and adjust clothing if a scanner cannot read your outline properly, and a jumpsuit or romper makes that process slower and more awkward than almost any other outfit choice on this list. What looks efficient at home becomes the least efficient thing you could have worn the moment real travel logistics come into play. A matching top and bottom set gives you the same coordinated look with none of the restroom struggle. And travelers who make that switch never mention missing the one-piece look once they experience how much smoother the rest of the flight feels. Number 6. Heavy knit sweater with no layering option. A single heavy sweater with nothing underneath and nothing to remove leaves you with only 2 uncomfortable choices: overheating through security screening or shivering the moment the cabin air kicks in. security lines move slowly, and heat builds fast in thick knit fabric while you wait. Sweat under a scanner reads differently than dry skin, and officers sometimes ask sweating travelers to step aside for a closer look, simply because nervous behavior and overheated behavior look nearly identical on camera. Then once you board, you have nothing lighter to switch into if the plane runs warm, and nothing extra to add if it runs cold. Travelers who layer properly glide through every temperature change without a second thought, while a single heavy sweater locks you into discomfort no matter what the day brings. A thin base layer under a light zip-up gives you the same warmth with an easy way to cool down in seconds, and that flexibility matters more than any single sweater ever could across a full day of unpredictable airport temperatures. Number 5. Bulky winter coat. Every winter coat has to come off, go through the scanner separately, and go back on before you can move through security, and a bulky coat with hidden pockets. Thick padding or heavy lining takes noticeably longer to clear than a slim jacket. Officers also check thick coats more carefully because padding can hide shape and mass that a scanner reads as suspicious until proven otherwise. That means more time standing at the belt, more time re-dressing while people behind you wait. And once you are through security, carrying a bulky coat through the rest of the terminal becomes its own burden. One more bulky item to hold, to drop, to forget on a chair. Travelers who choose a slim layered jacket instead move through every stage of the airport faster, from screening to boarding to finding overhead space for their bag. If you truly need warmth for your destination, packing the coat in your checked bag or your carry-on and wearing a slim jacket instead saves you every one of those small delays that quietly stack up across a single travel day. Number 4. Loose sandals that slip off easily. Loose sandals seem harmless until you are speed walking to a gate change, jogging up an escalator, or trying to catch a moving walkway before the doors close. A sandal with no strap security slips off mid-stride, and travelers have been seen limping through terminals, holding one shoe while trying not to lose their flight, beyond the obvious safety risk. Arriving at your gate barefoot or half-shod in front of a full boarding line is not the impression anyone wants to make. Airports move fast and without warning, gates change, lines shift, and the traveler wearing stable footwear is always the one who adapts without missing a beat, while everyone else scrambles. A sandal with a real back strap costs nothing extra in comfort, but saves you the exact scramble that turns a normal gate change into a small disaster. Number 3. Clothing with controversial slogans or graphics. Bold graphics and strong slogans might feel like self-expression at home, but airports are shared spaces filled with strangers from every background, and gate staff have the discretion to ask a traveler to cover up clothing they consider disruptive or offensive before boarding. This does not happen to most people, but it happens enough that travelers wearing loud political or provocative graphics report getting more questions, more looks, and occasionally a quiet request to change or cover the shirt before stepping onto the plane. The safest approach for travel days is simple, neutral clothing that draws zero attention, because the goal of a good travel day is moving through every stage unnoticed, not becoming the topic of conversation at the gate. Saving the bold graphic tee for your destination and choosing something plain for the flight itself is a small trade that keeps your travel day completely uneventful, which is exactly what every experienced traveler is really aiming for. Number 2, wrinkled linen suit or matching linen set. Linen looks effortless in a magazine, but after hours sitting in a car, a security line, and a plane seat, that same linen looks like you slept in it. And a fully matching linen set, top and bottom identical, reads less like travel wear and more like a costume, which draws more visual attention than travelers expect. Beyond appearance, linen wrinkles the moment you sit, and sitting is most of what air travel actually involves. Waiting at the gate, sitting on the plane, waiting again at baggage claim. So an outfit that looks sharp for the first 10 minutes looks tired for the remaining 10 hours. Travelers who choose a slightly more forgiving fabric arrive looking the same at the end of the trip as they did at the beginning. A soft cotton blend or a light knit holds its shape through hours of sitting. And choosing it over pure linen means your arrival photos actually match how put together you felt when you left the house. Number 1. Head-to-toe body-hugging outfit. This is the twist most travelers never see coming. An outfit that fits perfectly and looks completely normal can still slow you down at the one place you cannot afford delays. A full body scanner needs to read your outline clearly, and skin-tight fabric from head to toe, especially with seams, zippers, or stitching along the body, sometimes reads unclear to the machine, leading to a rescan or a manual check that would never happen in slightly looser clothing. This is the outfit travelers are least suspicious of, which is exactly why it catches so many people off guard. Comfortable does not always mean loose, and stylish does not always mean scanner-friendly. And the traveler who assumes the safest outfit is the one that fits best is often the one standing at the checkpoint the longest. A slightly relaxed fit, a bit of breathing room at the waist and shoulders, gives the scanner a clean, simple outline to read the first time, and that one small adjustment is often the real difference between walking straight through and getting called back for a second pass. 15 outfits, and every single one of them looked completely normal until you saw the real reason behind it. Tight heels that slow down the line, sleepwear that draws quiet judgment, overloaded cargo pockets that trigger repeated alarms, loose sandals that slip at the worst moment, heavy coats that need a full separate screening, and finally that one perfectly fitted outfit that somehow becomes the hardest for a scanner to read. None of these mistakes come from being careless. They come from not knowing what the system is actually looking for. And once you know, packing smart becomes second nature instead of a guessing game. So, before your next trip, take one more look at what is hanging in your closet, because the outfit that feels the safest is sometimes the one that slows you down the most. Think about the last flight you took, and be honest about whether one of these 15 outfits was hanging in your bag without you ever realizing it could be the reason for a longer line, a second look, or a moment of unnecessary stress you could have avoided completely. Small adjustments like these rarely feel important until the day they actually matter, and by then it is usually too late to change what you are wearing. So use what you learned today the next time you pack. And if this helped you see your suitcase differently, follow Fly Smart After 70 for more of these before you fly again.